Hindi na po makatarungan ang presyo ng ating pagkain. Karamihan na nagsasabing farmer sila ay farmer kunyari, pero ang katotohanan sila ay traders. Tanong, bakit Mr. Chair, sang-ayon sa PSA, ang binaba ay 0.44 cents lamang po? Tila pinaglalaruan tayo ng mga kamay na hindi pa nakikita. Baka pwede nating tingnan kung saan napunta ang reduction ng buwis, sino ang nagbenepisyo dito, at sino ang dapat managot. May I suggest, Mr. Chair, that while I agree with the word controlling, I believe it's time to change that to humanizing food prices dahil hindi na po makatarungan ang presyo ng ating pagkain. So, Mr. Chair, allow me to continue where some of our colleagues took off. So, unahin po natin sa bigas. Hindi po ba meron tayong producers kasi ito ay naimbestiga na ng ating pinakapoging co-chair ngayon sa harap, si Congressman Mark Enverga. Hindi, pangalawa si Kong Biron. Pareho. So, Mr. Chair, dun po sa ating investigasyon, kung maalala nyo, producers, yung ating mga farmers, or the importers, and then yung ating traders, and we actually divided them into two, the wholesalers and the retailers, and the consumers. At dito na-establish na isang malaking problema ay tila hindi nagkakaintindihan sa definition ng farmer. Dahil karamihan na nagsasabing farmer sila ay farmer kunyari, pero ang katotohanan sila ay traders. And this was actually the biggest problem because the biggest price manipulation was apparently happening in that niche of the chain of rice production. So may I ask, Mr. Chair, kasi ito po, nung tinanong sa DA, I believe kung Mark Enverga would recall na hindi na ibibigyan ng tamang definition. So may we inquire from the Department of Agriculture, how do you define a rice farmer? In that case, we were asking them, how do you define an onion farmer?
We have the registry system for the basic farmers and fisher folks.
RSBSA.
RSBSA po. At ngayon po, ginagawa namin na improvement dito ay hindi lang po yung pangalan ng farmer, kundi pati po yung lupa na sinasaka. Ibig sabihin, kailangan meron siyang aktual na sinasakang lupa para matawag siya na farmer at makonsider po na siya ay isang magsasaka.
Naka-GIS ba siya?
Naka-geotag po siya at ganoon din po ang ating mga mangingisda. Hindi lang po siya basta nakarehistro bilang mangingisda, kundi nakalagay din po doon kung meron ba siyang bangka o wala at ano po ang gear na kanyang ginagamit. So that is how we define farmers now, both conceptually and operationally.
Yeah, thank you for that, Yusek Asis, Yusek Perez. So, Mr. Chair, kaya ko ito tinanong, balikan lang natin yung usapin ng sibuyas. And of course, we thank the leadership of the House and Speaker Romualdez when he really had the balls and the political will to investigate it. Kaya nga bumaba ang presyo. And of course, our salute also to Congressman Erwin Tulfo who was very active in that advocacy. Mr. Chair, kung tibabalikan po natin ang usapin ng sibuyas, nakita po natin na tila yung ibang nagclaim na farmer ay hindi naman talagang farmer, but they were actually traders. But you can find them in the official list of DA. Bakit? Ang sasabihin kasi nila, sila ang nagkakapital, sila ang nagbibigay ng nagbibigay ng cold chain, ng warehouse, cold storage, at kaya lumalabas na farmer sila. But if you really look at the real picture, they were actually the local traders and malalaking traders. So you were asking kanina, Mr. Chair, I was monitoring while I was traveling here, nasabi niyo po yung kwentong binenta sa FTI at I believe that was 500 plus ba yun? 520. but it was sold at the Kadiwa stores for 260, 250. Kaya ang ibig sabihin no, nagpalugi ng ilang milyon ang gobyerno. And mind you, kung pinamigay na lang yon na assistance sa farmers, that could have been better. Dahil karamihan ng sibuyas na ito ay nabulok at hindi na ibenta dahil wala namang cold storage. Pangalawa, pinilit ibenta yung hindi pa, kumbaga, pinilit i-harvest. That was actually what we saw. Pinilit i-harvest kasi nagkaroon nga ng shortage at sa pag-aakala nung mga naging utak ng programang ito sa DA, pinilit i-harvest. So hindi naman maibebenta at hindi rin nagamit kaya marami ang nabulok and that was documented by a lot of pictures. What we are pointing at is the fact na nakadagdag pa ito sa problema. Dahil nung kapanahonan na dapat aanihin na yung sibuyas ay hindi na maani, inani sa panahon na hindi mo naman mapapakain or mapapagamit sa tao and contributed more to shortage of onions. So I believe this is a similar problem, Mr. Chair, dun sa iba pa nating mga kino-consume. Can the DA confirm that, Mr. Chair?
Asis.
Yes, we confirm, Mr. Chair, that this happened in the past. And we're learning from it. And we have institutionalized measures to prevent it from happening again. We cannot deny what happened before.
So may I ask if the G2G was between AMAS and FTI again on rice?
In the case of G2G between FTI and Kadiwa and AMAS, this is fully supervised by the secretary, and we conduct meetings almost weekly to make sure that the problem that happened in the past will not happen again. That's why, sir, at least in the case for rice, nakakabenta po tayo sa Kadiwa ng 42 ngayon when the prevailing price is around 50. And so that's a very different story from our previous experience.
From the previous onion.
And this applies also to other commodities. In fact, Mr. Chair, in the case of Kadiwa, lahat po ng presyo ng commodities doon, mas mura ng 20 hanggang 30 pesos kaysa ordinaryong palengke.
May tanong ka ba?
So, Mr. Chair, sa usaping bigas, magkano po ba ang kilo ng bigas ngayon?
55.
Are we going to consider it that, so if DA, Mr. Chair, has the price?
We are
More or less.
monitoring prices, Mr. Chair.
More or less, if you can give us a figure para meron tayong gamitin sa
We
discussion.
will submit the actual price, but it's a range. Meron ho kaming monitoring on a weekly basis.
Just give us the range.
The range now, the lowest po sa imported po is, ang imported po ngayong week na to, ang pinakamura po ay 44 sa imported regular milled. Pero doon po sa local commercial rice po natin, ang pinakamura po ay 43 pesos.
So
mas
it's a
mura po
range
yung-
of 44 to what and 43 to what? So we can have the average.
Opo, pag 44 to 59 po sa imported and 43 po to 59 yung local.
Okay, sabihin na natin for purposes of discussion, Mr. Chair, that the average price of rice now per kilo is 50 pesos. Pwede ba yon? That's the average.
That appears to be correct.
Okay. So kung 50 pesos ang average price per kilo of rice, how much was it? Magkano po yun nung hindi pa binawasan ang taripa?
I can give you the data in September, ma'am, kasi halos pareho po yung
Yes,
presyo noon,
please.
no? So nung hindi pa po bumaba nung September po kasi hindi pa nag-i-effect yung taripa po. halos 47 to 60 po yon sa imported, based on our price monitoring. And pagka po naman sa local, 47 to 60.19. So mas mura pa rin po yung local ng konti.
No, what I meant was, nung wala pa yung taripa, yung andyan dyan yung taripa, magkano ang naging presyo ng bigas?
Around 48 to 61 po. Before the tariff reduction? You mean?
Yes.
And pag sa local po, between 48, ang pinaka-lowest po to 62.
Okay, let's
the
talk
effect
about
of
the imported kasi doon yung taripa, di ba?
Yes.
Okay, before the reduction of tariff, before binabaan, magkano po ang range na presyo ng bigas?
So yung imported po is around, I'd say 48, yung lowest, and
The
then
range is 48 to what?
to about 61 po.
To 61. So masasabi mo na ang average niya is nasa mga 54.5.
Yeah, it's around that figure po.
Because in the data that was presented earlier by Congresswoman Stella Kimbo, what was shown was 51.12 and a reduction to 50.68. Do you confirm this?
Our data is limited to those of Metro Manila data. As
Okay.
for the national average, I think PSA was able to provide the number.
So ang pinapakita po, Mr. Chair, ng PSA ay nung hindi pa binawasan ang taripa or kung ang buwis na pinapatong natin sa bigas na ini-import, ang presyo ng bigas ay 51.12. Nung binawasan na ito ng 20% yung reduction no, sa tariff. The reduction in tariff was 20%. From 35%, naging 15% na lang. So ang expected nun, kaya nga binawasan ang buwis ng imported rice is para bumaba ang presyo. That's the intention of the President of the Republic of the Philippines dahil foremost in his advocacy is to reduce the rise of prices and the cost of food in our country. Subalit, sa pinapakita ng PSA, the reduction is only 0.44 cents, Mr. Chair.
Yes, to support you, I produced the chart.
Oh, thank you very much,
The
Mr.
retail
Chair.
price based on PSA is the topmost. The red one is the imported, and the world price is the blue one. So it's apparent that the differential between the retail price and the imported price has widened. That can only happen if there's a cartel.
So the orange line is
Imported, right?
imported and the blue one is
The blue
world
one,
price.
The world price, it went down.
Okay. So, Mr. Chair, kung babalikan po natin, maybe people from DOF can orient us with the reduction. Puntahan natin yung reduction ng taripa. Nung binawasan ng 20% ang buwis na ibabayad sa bigas, magkano ang dapat na expected na pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas per kilo? Let's laymanize it para maintindihan ng tao. From our DOF representative, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I don't have the
Please
available
speak
official,
closely to the mic. please.
available data as of now, but the team only provided the percentage or the average.
Hindi, ganito na lang. Alam nyo o hindi? Is it?
We also base it on the.
Okay, do you have the figure or you don't have? And if you don't have, Mr. Chair,
So we'll
pwede po bang metawagan ka sa opisina nyo para matumbok natin ang problema? Ang tanong is, nung hindi pa binawasan ang taripa, ikumpara sa pagbawas ng buwis na pinapatong sa bigas, binawasan ang buwis ng 20%. How much was the expected reduction on the price of rice per kilo. Para malinaw. Ibig sabihin, nung ginawa ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, ang political will, bawasan ang buwis ng bigas para hindi mahirapan ang taong bayan. This was expected to reduce the price of rice on how much per kilo?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chair. Yes,
Yes.
a brief interjection. The indulgence of Congresswoman Garin. For the guidance of DOF, you only need to ascertain the CIF price multiplied by 20%. That is the expected savings. Actually, that's the loss of the Philippine government. Give us the CIF multiplied by 20%. That's the expected reduction in the cost of rice. So that's your guide, Madam DOF. Thank you.
So Mr. Chair, balikan lang po natin, ba't po natin ito tinatanong? Dahil kailangang malaman ng sambayan ng Pilipino na yung buwis na binabayad ng mga negosyante ay kailangan dapat ng gobyerno. Pero sinakripisyo ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos yung buwis na ito para hindi na magbayad ng buwis ang negosyante, kontian, babaan ang buwis kasi ibabawas yun sa binabayad ng taong bayan dahil pagkain, bigas ang pinag-uusapan. So as we are getting the information, yung pagbaba ng taripa o pagbaba ng buwis ng 20%, ang expected na pagbaba ng presyo ng bigas ay 5 to 6 pesos per kilo. Tanong, bakit Mr. Chair, sang-ayon sa PSA, ang binaba ay 0.44 cents lamang po? Tila pinaglalaruan tayo ng mga kamay na hindi pa nakikita. Mr. Chair, I come from the health sector, no? At para lang malaman din ng taong bayan, ilang presidente ang narinig kong nagsabi, dadagdagan namin ang benepisyo sa PhilHealth. So example, kung ang benepisyo mo dati ay 5,000, mag-a-announce ang PhilHealth, okay, for medicines, we are giving you a medicine benefit of 7,000 pesos. So akala ng mga tao sa gobyerno na yung benepisyo ay napupunta sa mga pasyente. But actually, Mr. Chair, hindi. Bakit? Ang ginagawa kaagad, hindi naman lahat. Pero yung ibang hospital owners, ang gagawin nila ay tataasan nila ang presyo ng gamot kapag charged to PhilHealth. Example, kung itong antibiotic na ito, ang presyo pag bibilhin mo sa pharmacy ng hospital mismo ay 100 pesos. Kapag charged to PhilHealth, ginawa nilang 125 or 130 pesos kasi nag-increase ang benepisyo. Ganito rin ang tila nangyayari na senaryo. Ibig sabihin, ginagawa ng gobyerno ang lahat, subalit dun sa gitna ay merong mga negosyanteng kinakamkam ang dapat ay napupunta kay Juan at kay Maria. And this, Mr. Chair, should be pinpointed because it is actually vandalizing the intention of the government. So, Mr. Chair, with that, baka pwede nating tingnan kung saan napunta ang reduction ng buwis, sino ang nagbenepisyo dito, at sino ang dapat managot. Mr. Chair, my second topic was, I heard before, somebody mentioned, I'm not sure, it was Mr. Lionel, na napakamahal ng balanced diet sa Pilipinas. Tama?
That's right po, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Chair, will Mr. Lionel Tangangco agree with me when I say, kung babaan natin at damihan ang supply ng itlog, this will actually solve one of our biggest problems on stunting, malnutrition, and a balanced diet.
It would help po, Your Honor, as yung egg is a good source of protein and also a lot of other micronutrients that are needed by growing children and pregnant mothers po.
Will you agree with me, Mr. Chair, when I say na kapag ang tao ay kumakain ng 2 itlog araw-araw, hahaba ang buhay niya at mas magiging matalino siya?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, hindi po ako doctor, but I might differ to the FNRI, ma'am, or to yourself po. Yeah. I'm an economist po by training, but
But Mr. Chair, because that is the case. Pinag-iisipan natin, baboy, karne. Okay naman ang mga baboy, okay ang isda, okay ang karne. But if we talk about affordability, as of the current moment, one of the biggest sources of the Philippines for protein is actually egg or itlog. So may I ask, Mr. Chair, the Department of Agriculture, where are we in terms of egg sufficiency? Yung itlog na may protina, hindi po yung ibang klaseng... Not the egg that produces 100% protein.
Mr. Chair, if I may, first let me agree with the chair that egg is indeed probably the most affordable source of protein, and we have various sources of eggs, but we are yet to hit the right number because right now we only produce, if I'm not mistaken, less than 10 million eggs a day.
So, sorry, less than
10 million eggs a day.
10 million eggs per day. How many Filipinos? So we are 110 million Filipinos.
Yes.
Sabihin na natin, let's say, ilan ang pwede nang kumain ng itlog? Kasi bata pwede nang kumain ng itlog. Sabihin mo, 80 million.
Of course, we're very far from the ideal number of at least 7 eggs a day.
So, Mr. Chair, what are the problems besetting the egg production industry in the Philippines?
Well, the chair mentioned that a big part of it is structural, and I tend to agree with that. The other reason is the efficiency level is yet to be achieved. And the department and Congress is working on that because we're in the process of putting together a new law, the Animal Industry Development Act, which is intended to, number one, develop the livestock industry so that it will be able to support and provide the necessary protein for our people. You mentioned egg, but let me also emphasize about the milk. The Philippines only supplies less than 1% of the milk requirement of our people. And so that is included in the plan of DA to increase the number of our dairy animal para po dumami rin yung ating gatas. So dalawa po yon, isa po yung gatas at isa po yung ang itlog. And I think both of these nutrients are, sorry to mention, were never a priority before, and this is now a priority of the Department of Agriculture.
There it goes, Mr. Chair. Okay. Very quickly lang and to wrap up. Meron tayong dalawang yaman na dapat nga lang ay talagang bilisan ng Department of Agriculture ang pagtulong sa sektor na ito, gatas at saka itlog. We are producing 10 million eggs per day, but our demand is roughly around
70.
100. No, 70 is 1 egg per day. But the requirement is 2 eggs. Kaya nga ginawang 2 itlog ng Diyos. Dahil 2 itlog ang kailangan ng bawat tao araw-araw. I mean, to delay dementia, to delay other illnesses. So it's 2 eggs per day. So we need 140 million eggs per day. And if we have milk, mababawasan yan. So Mr. Chair, to wrap up, yung nasabi ng ating butihing colleague na si Kong Briones, he mentioned about, ano nga ba yun, mechanically deboned meat. Ang ibig po sabihin nun, yung mga buto ay kinikis-kis at minamash para yung mga tira-tira na yon ay ibenta na parang karne dito sa Pilipinas. we are importing that, but actually that is not really good protein. At supposedly, halos kapareho lang, mas mura pa nga ang itlog compared to the products of mechanically deboned meat, which are the sausages, itong mga the processed foods. In other words, Mr. Chair, kailangan na talagang tutukan. Example, sinabi yung structural efficiency. Dahil kung yung mga farmers natin na nagproduce ng itlog ay hindi tutulungan, madaling mabasag yung kanilang mga itlog. At kung madaling mabasag yan, madaling mabulok, malulugi sila. Then we need to subsidize and help them. So Mr. Chair, una, itlog at gatas, ano ang plano natin dyan? Pangalawa, sino-sino ang walang puso at hindi makatarungan na ang layunin ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na bawasan ng 5 hanggang 6 na piso ang bawat kilo ng bigas. Ang nangyari ay nabawasan ng 44 cents per kilo at yung 5 piso ay napunta sa bulsa ng iilang tao. So Mr. Chair, in the subsequent hearings that we will be conducting, may I appeal to our 5 good chairperson that we also give focus on the accountability of those people who paved way for that, so that we set an example that government is serious in bringing down the cost of food, and at the same time we focus on more egg and better egg production. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.